Well, hello, dear friend. Good to have you again. It is about that time. My name is Zach Treby, and welcome to Zach Treby School of Drums, where I help drummers build successful, high-paying careers that they could be happy with. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, so today is going to be a fun one, right? And I'm titling this "The Story Behind How Anika Nilles Got the High-Paying Gig with Rush." Okay, so like I've said before, success leaves clues, right? Well, of course it does. You can go to Wikipedia and you could literally, you could search up any drummer you want and you'll see a pattern, right? You'll see a pattern, and the pattern usually is that either they were playing in a lot of bands, they were being seen, hence promoted, right? So they would network and promote themselves, right? Playing with bands because live with bands, because at the time there was no such thing as a YouTube, but we'll get to that later because that is involved in what I'm going to share. But I wanted to look at a few examples. One being Anika Nilles, right, and then we'll cover Neil Peart right before her. Okay, so obviously we all understand Neil Peart, right? We know that. We're going to look at his story too. And we're going to see the difference, but there's a pattern. There's a pattern in all this. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. And then you're going to go, oh my God, like there it is. So there's a lot to promotion, okay? And we're going to cover a little bit of that today. I'm going to show you some of the blueprint roadmap for how to get high-paying gigs. Now, obviously, this took Anika a while, right? But like I said, success leaves clues. But let's look into Anika's story, right? We're going to go to Wikipedia. Now, I'm not going to read the whole thing, just a few segments of this, okay? Because now, there was no such thing as Wikipedia when I was younger. There's no such thing. But I find this fascinating because you could literally see the pattern. And this is a pattern that I teach my students and my coaching clients. And that's what that's the formula they get so they can go obtain these higher paying gigs. So let's take a look at Anika, her background, right? So I'm just going to read a little bit. Anika Nilles, born 29 May 1983, is a German drummer, composer, and musical educator. She launched her career on YouTube during the early 2010s. Okay, so I'm going to stop right there. So that should tell you something. So if you go back and check her videos, you'll see like Alter Ego and Queens and a few others, right? And of course, she started her YouTube channel because this is 2010. YouTube, I think, came around in 2005, I think. Something like that. About 20 years ago, okay? And, that right there, any platform that could help you, it's pretty much it's the equivalent of the Ed Sullivan Show, okay, where the Beatles got their big, all the eyes seen on them. That kind of catapulted them a little bit. So that's one particular stage, right? Okay. So she launched her career on YouTube during the early 2000s and has released 3 length albums to date. Okay, now let's talk about that too. All right, not uncommon for musicians to release their own stuff. So that's something I haven't covered in great detail, but it's worth noting because that's still promotion. It's still an advancement in your career. You're still promoting yourself to people that want to hear your music and see you play. So she did both. So, and I don't know if she did it all on keyboards or she plays other instruments. I actually don't know. But I believe she does compose her own stuff, so which is great. Let's move on. So, released 3 length albums to date, all with the backing band Neville Pickler in 2017, For a Colorful Soul 2020, and Full Truth 2025. On 6 October 2025, Nilles was announced as the touring drummer for Rush. Right now, check it out. If you went farther, you'd see a good like 10 to 15 year career. She tours after really, I believe, I'm not gonna try and find it because it'll take me way too long. I believe a little bit after she released some of her music, Jeff Beck picked her up somewhere, or she did some clinic tours, right? Because this Wikipedia is long, so I don't want to waste time. But she was going on tour. She did some Jeff Beck's tour. She did some clinics. I think she did like a 6-city clinic tour, something like that. So that's worth noting. And look, check it out. It's not uncommon. Here it is. You know what? I'm going to stop. Here it is. Nilles joined Jeff Beck's live band for the U.S. and European tour in 2022. Okay, look at that. And then Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson from Rush were checking her out, right? And that took time, but still, I mean, when you have eyes on you, whether it's playing live or on YouTube, today we have those particular channels. Remember, in back in the 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s, we didn't have that. We didn't have video. We had live, and that was and you had gatekeepers for record deals and stuff like that. Now that's all gone. Now it's artist to fan, which is great. I think that's great. What a leg up for us, right? I mean, that's a big deal. So, listen, success leaves clues, because she left school to pursue I don't know if she left school. I got to read this better. I just kind of went to the section I wanted. But from what I understand, after schooling, she just went ahead and went full in on being a full-time drummer. I believe that's what she did to promote herself. Excuse me. So that's a great formula, okay? And of course, people are going to say, "Oh, yeah, but today it isn't as easy." I never said it was easy, because I've heard that, and I'm here going, "Well, no, like that's not the point." Like, building a business, which is exactly what we're talking about, is not easy. But guess what? If you were to take this particular formula here and run with it, I believe your career would start to soar after a while, because that's how it works. That's how business works. Like, there's a formula to this. There's a roadmap. There's all we're talking about here is going in a specific direction. And you know what? People have to know who you are. I keep saying this. It's true. Listen, if you want to get, let's just say you want to get, I don't know, some kind of Broadway pit, position, okay? I'm just picking one gig. This is the way to do many gigs, but what would you do? Well, okay, it's called making calls. And I know people are going to freak out when I talk about calls, but, find out the music director or the conductor of that particular Broadway pit and, or show that you want to do, or that, whatever you have your eyes on. It could be a few things. And because now everyone's on social media. Everyone's on Instagram and YouTube and TikTok, whatever you want to call it. And you know what? You can find these people. And you write out a script that basically says, how can I serve you? Okay, that's the idea. Listen, do not make it about yourself. Make it about how you can serve them. Okay? These are the gig scripts I give my clients and my students. And that gets them hired, because, honestly, they don't really care how much you've done. I mean, it helps to have, some credibility, right? But you don't really need much. I got news for you. They just want to know if you could do the job. That's all. Anyway, let me. I digress. So what I'm saying is, go for it. That's all I'm saying. Now let's go towards. You guys can further look up Anika Nilles, okay? Because there's like a 10 to 15 span career where she did a few things. So, and of course, Drumeo promoted her, which is great. So that was further promotion for her, which is, I mean, come on. That's a big deal, okay? All right, now to Neil Peart. So the one before her, okay? The GOAT. Now I'm just gonna read a little bit here, okay, and you'll see a pattern, okay. And now his was a little different, okay, but still the promotion is the same, the roadmap is the same, okay. So here it is in the Wikipedia, right? Early career. At 18 years old, and after struggling to achieve success as a drummer in Canada, Pert traveled to London, England, hoping to further his career as a professional musician. I'm going to stop there. Now, that's pretty good. That's another way to go about this, right? You want to get better gigs? It would be, if you're in an area that, you can't really get some decent live gigs, but, of course, now I'm talking about people that want to play live, right? If you have a YouTube channel, that's what you want to do, and you want to direct your career towards that, do it. But I'm specifically talking about performing now with people, right? So that's a good idea. If you want to play with people a lot, move or somehow make your way to a city that that has a lot of live music. That's a great way to do it. Okay. There's another way where if you want to audition for the cruise ship gigs, that's another great way, and that pays better, right? Anyway, let me continue. Despite playing in several bands, there it is. Okay, there it is. That's how you do it. Okay, so that's your physical stage, right? There's two stages, in my opinion. There's a physical stage and there's a digital stage. So YouTube would be the digital, and playing live would be your physical. The point is, all eyes are on you in both scenarios. Both have eyes. That's what you want. Okay? Despite playing in several bands and picking up occasional session work, he was forced to support himself by selling jewelry at a shop called The Great Frog on Carnaby Street. Okay, well, you do what you got to do. While in London, he came across the writings of novelist and philosopher Ayn Rand. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, let me continue. After 18 months, Pert became disillusioned by his lack of progress in the music business. That's understandable. He placed his aspiration of becoming a professional musician on hold and returned to Canada. Upon arriving to St. Catharines, he worked for his father selling tractor parts at Dalziel Equipment. Here it is, joining Rush. After returning to Canada, Pert was recruited to play drums for a St. Catharines band known as Hush. Okay, so you notice he's still getting out there and playing, right? He's got a job. But he, that was the only way they knew back then. Again, there was no YouTube, right? So this is one of the formulas, okay, or one of the promotional ways to do it. A band known as Hush, who played on the Southern Ontario bar circuit. Okay, so he was in the bar scene, right? Soon after, a mutual acquaintance convinced Pert to audition. Here it is, a mutual acquaintance. Listen. People have to know who you are. Get out there. Play with as many bands as you can. I mean, seriously. And if that's burning you out, I'm going to make a YouTube video about that soon, about burning out on bar gigs, right? But if that's burning you out, go for cruise ship gigs or some higher gig. I mean, but still, it's all the same. Excuse me. It's all the same. People have to know who you are so they can recommend you if you're good. That is part of it, all right? So if you want to make this your full-time job, go for it, okay? So he replaced John Rutsey, okay? And that's how he got started. And, of course, you can read more about, like, his further involvement in Rush, right? I mean, it spans over, like, 40 years, right? So, clearly they made records, and 2112 put them over the top, which is great. So that's two particular stages you could look at, okay, as when it comes to Anika and Neil. So obviously anyone before YouTube would qualify under the physical stage category, I call it, right? The physical stage. Personally, I think you need both. And it just increases your eyes. You know what I mean? So now, on top of YouTube, it would be a great idea to have a website. And listen, for the love of Mike, please do not make the website complicated. just simple. People just need to know who you are, so they can hire you, and see the work you've done. And if you haven't done much, that's okay. I mean, everyone starts somewhere. Believe me, people are not judging by how much you've done or haven't done. I guarantee it. People just want to know if you can play and you can hang, right? So it's good to have two types of stages. Okay, that's a good idea. Social media and physical presence. Okay, playing live, physical, on stage, right? Having a website, having a YouTube, playing live, networking, and promotion. Okay, let's cover that. Obviously, YouTube is a big thing, or social media if you like. Now, it would be a good idea to, if you're so inclined to make this your job, you're gonna grow pretty quick. I guarantee it. Why? Because if you're putting your energy towards that, if you're directing your energy towards what you want to do, right? What kind of drummer you want to be. And you could be, by the way, your career can pivot. You can change, okay? And, these are the ways you direct yourself towards high-paying gigs. And this is exactly what I tell my students to do. It's really not hard. And now, I'm going to make a separate video about this. You do not need to go start at bar gigs, although that's a good idea because it's good to have, some kind of working knowledge of how things work. But I've also thrown people that have never done a gig, really, very, very much, except my showcases, and I've thrown them at cruise ship gigs, and they learn. They learn the hard way, but they learn. I mean, So I always make sure they can do a few of my student drummer showcases before they even hit the cruise ship gigs, because it's good to have some kind of reps on stage. You know what I mean? So yes, you don't have to do the bar gigs to start. Okay, you can, and I didn't do that. I jumped from college right to the cruise ships, and that doesn't mean you need to go to college. Okay, that's what I'm not saying. Okay, you don't need to go to college. Okay, I'm not saying you have to. Okay, that's my point. All right, so but just remember, those are the two avenues we have available today, and we have seen success in every single part of the physical stage and the digital stage. And guess what? It's not luck. It is who you know, right? And or I should say, it's how you promote yourself and how you network. That's all. It's not hard. Networking and promoting are just saying hi. Basically, it's just all eyes on you. And yes, we are advancing our career here, aren't we? Well, of course we are, and that's the whole point of this video, right? I'm going to make a video called Why Your Cheap Bar Gigs Are Your Most Expensive Problem. And of course, everyone's going to have a problem with that. Well, yes, because the video that will not be for are the bar band drummers, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. I know a lot of drummers who play in bar bands, and they're happy as clams. But let me tell you something. I know a lot of my students who went that route and they got burned out like I did doing bar gigs. And I said, well, guess what? You are the other side of the equation. And that's who that video is for, or is going to be for. And I can't wait to make that. That's going to be fun. Because there's things that people don't understand. People think that they start a career there. And I'm like, not really. I mean, it can be a stepping stone, but I've known to 10x my gigs a little faster than bar bands. But anyway, when I was younger. Okay, so that's all I'm going to cover today as far as Anika and Neil go, these two physical stages. If any of this resonates with you and you want to, scale your gigs or get better gigs, listen, I mean, I run a gig ready drummer challenge, and basically what I teach is I teach a lot of what I teach on this YouTube channel, okay, and that's the blueprint roadmap to get higher paying gigs, and it's not hard, and we cover a lot of stuff. All right, we cover the different types of gigs and how to get them. It's a lot of fun. A lot of the students that actually participate they have a blast during this 5-day challenge. It's a lot of fun. So I'll leave the link in the description below. I believe we're starting on June 12th. That's our next one. I usually do one a month unless I'm away. But, think about some of that. If this resonates with you, take the challenge. It's a lot of fun. You get me live for 5 days. It's great. It's a lot of fun. But those are the two stages, right? The digital stage and the physical stage. It's not hard. If you have the right gig scripts, in other words, how can I serve you? You can reach out to anybody. As a matter of fact, you don't need my Gig Ready Drummer Challenge for that. Let me tell you something. You could literally right now put together a gig script and go get a gig that you really want. Hopefully, you will have the skills to do that, right? Meaning to do that gig. That's another video though. But it's worth looking into, right? So look into Anika and look into Neil and check them out a little further and see if you can pinpoint any other patterns, because success leaves clues, okay? And it's really important that we understand that, right? And once you see those patterns, you're going to go, oh my God, it's so clear. And what's funny is we have everything at our fingertips. We have these phones, right? And so anyway, so if you're curious, take the challenge. All right, over 5 days, I'll show you the blueprint and how to obtain those gigs. It's not hard. It's so easy, and people usually go from 0 to 1,000 within a few days. Anyway, so dear friend, great to hang with you again, and I hope you have a great day. And until next time.